having
a burpee.
yeah.
So then,
Hey guys, just Gavin here. Hey, welcome to the Women in Gaming monthly stream. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Kate. This is Kat, and of course, our special guest today, Miss Shannon Loftis. Thank you so much for joining us. We're very excited. A little hype in chat if you are also excited for this monthly stream. And thanks to the 185 people already chatting with us today.
Yes,
Ladies,
that's
how's things?
Awesome.
things are great. It's that time of year, we're
Yeah.
crunching on our winter games and got a lot of things going. I'm playing a lot of Crackdown 3.
And now you're making everyone jealous in chat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, everything is awesome. Work has been really exciting, and I'm super excited to have our second episode of this Women in Gaming show. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us.
Well, and I say we do a quick reminder of I'm a senior producer and host over here at Mixer. Kat, what is your job? What do you
I
do
am
here?
a program manager in the Xbox Live team.
And
Badass
I'm,
one.
the head of first party publishing.
Just a small little
Yeah.
thing for the
Look,
old
I'm
X.
gonna put my eyeballs.
So the tally light, the red one
Oh,
is
got it.
what's
Yeah.
on.
Hi, red light.
Hey guys, how's it going? So here's how the show is going to work. Actually, we are going to have a nice little hour-long sit-down chat. We're going to do some gameplay. We're going to do some one-ups, and snaps and all these kind of things. We're going to go over currently playing what we're currently obsessed with. I'm looking at you, Kat.
Yep.
And then, of course, we're going to get in on Human Fall Flat, which is a Game Pass title, and quite frankly, one of the cutest and most interesting games that I have witnessed in a very long time. And then, let's see, I can't remember what the other thing is, but it was just on the screen. So we'll keep that going.
It was
One-ups,
one-ups and game overs
snaps and
where
game
we go
overs.
over
Yep.
the really cool things that are happening in our industry and less good things that are happening in our industry.
Just being real.
Yep.
Yep,
We're
for
just
sure.
talking about it.
You bet.
Exactly. So we're going to be talking about what we're currently playing in a little bit, obviously. So I've heard, Shannon, you've been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed Odyssey and just
Yeah,
enjoying
Assassin's
that.
Creed is it's just one of those series that I 100% every time, and especially you might spend a little too much time. At least I might spend a little too much time on social media, going through all the stuff that's kind
No.
of not good going on in the world today. Nothing better than to go and get away to ancient Greece.
excellent.
So I'm absolutely loving it. I'm playing it as Cassandra,
Ooh.
and she's such a badass, and she's beautiful, and I love that game. The detail.
It's beautiful. And we'll actually take a look at that a little bit later in the show. And of course, Kat, you've gotten in on Life is Strange Strange 2,
Ooh,
Chapter 1.
awesome.
Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of the Life is Strange franchise,
Mm-hmm.
and so during this month they actually just launched the first episode of Life is Strange 2,
Mm.
which was mind blowing. For the first 10 minutes of gameplay, they had me hooked to the thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I honestly got it done in one time because I just couldn't one sitting because I just couldn't put the controller down.
I love it.
It's
Is it the
very
same set of characters?
it's not. It's completely new characters, which made me think that I wouldn't be as hooked
Invested
and
or-
invested.
Yeah.
But they made an amazing job of building these characters, and we know what they care about, and they go through a very, very hard time. So it's these two brothers, the older and younger brother, who find themselves, and I'm trying not to give away any spoilers.
No spoilers, but
No
that's fair.
spoilers, who go through a really hard thing, and it's really interesting. You do control the older brother, and so how you care about your younger brother and the decisions you make to care for him, but you can't do everything to please him,
No.
and so it's amazing, and I highly recommend anyone who liked the first game to just
Get in
go
on it.
and get this.
How many chapters are they going to have?
I believe it's 5.
5?
Yes.
Okay.
So I bought them all outright because you do get some special content if you do that.
Aha!
So-
There's them apples.
Yes, exactly.
Actually, and I was going to say, Shannon, I want to go back to Assassin's Creed Odyssey because this game, and we'll show some footage of it later. This game has been making the rounds. Everybody loves it.
Yes.
It has, it has award-winning game written all over it.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about how far you're into it. What's your overall feeling? Because it has some stiff competition with the Assassin's Creed series.
True. And I'm not far enough in yet to In fact, I'm embarrassed to say that I'm actually not off of the island of Kefalonia yet,
Hey, that's
because I am a completionist and I'm trying to make sure I get everything done on that island before I leave. The other kind of excuse I have for this is that I am spending all of my time playing unreleased games at the moment. So
It's a hard
It's a
job,
hard
but
life.
somebody
Yeah, it
has to
is.
do it,
Yeah.
Shannon, and
I
we're
mean,
very appreciative that
I
you're
know.
able to.
I know. So, but when I get the odd Saturday to sit down and just start playing, it's the Assassin's Creed, both Origins and Odyssey are just these incredibly rich, detail rendered worlds. And one of the, I think the biggest pleasures of these games is just finding that sync point and taking pictures and capturing every moment and sharing it and interacting with your eagle in Odyssey versus I can't remember Hawk. I think
Hawk
it
was
in Origin,
for yeah.
So it's just a beautiful game, and the story for Origins was so rich. And I haven't gotten deep enough into Odyssey yet to really get into the main line of the story. But it's my game that pretty soon I'm feeling the sickness coming on.
Oh, boo.
Probably need to stay home a day, maybe two.
It's mental health is a real thing. We should also take involved for mental health days because I've taken a lot of those around the game I was going to talk about here in a second. Which is not really to say that Forza Horizon is a newer game. It's somewhat
You're
newer,
still
but
playing
I
Forza Horizon.
can't get enough. It's a problem and a solution, but we'll talk about that in a second. We've actually, we do have, they've got some 5 tips for Forza Horizon 4. I was going to say the Assassin's Creed. I mean, I think that's one of the things that I love, which I think every gamer on a console loves or PC, is the beautiful cinematics, right? These incredible scenes that in-game photography. We've interviewed on different shows. We've interviewed in-game photographers, which is such a unique form of expression and creativity because you come in and you basically showcase all of these beautiful scenes that these designers and developers have created in these worlds. And that's one of the things I love about Forza Horizon 4 that ostensibly is very similar to the Assassin's Creed series for sure.
I had the good fortune of getting to spend a little bit of time with the Playground guys.
Oh,
They showed me some of the work that they put into creating those unbelievable skies. And I'm not going to give away their trade secrets, but the attention to detail, even with the stripes that are painted on the roads, they're decals with height maps, which if you're a nerd, this is next level attention to detail. And it gives them the opportunity to make the roads look worn or new as they see fit. And of course, autumn changes everything, right?
Yep.
Yes, exactly. And we just had a huge update for the game, and I know that I was just in spring earlier today, so just trying to get a feel again, and it is so beautiful, and not only that, with the dynamic weather aspect that, by the way, kills me every time. I'm also a bit of a completionist, but I'll tell you something. I get too much fun out of landscaping. I have become so good at landscape and influencer. And actually, speaking of Forza, one of the cool things about being on Mixer, side plug, is the fact that right now, if you watch streams that are showcasing Forza Horizon 4, you get those influencer points.
It's true.
Nice. It
I
is
have a lot of people
fun.
in the office having those streams up for Forza Horizon.
I know, Channel 1, y'all, that has all of those people on. And it's I will say it is a nice integration because, quite frankly, because it's so beautiful and because there's some incredible gameplay, there's some incredible drivers out there, it just makes sense to watch and to sort of be mesmerized. And I personally have been mesmerized possibly too much at the office, but whatever, it's fine. It's fine.
So, Kate, what's your go-to ride?
My go-to ride. Well, so here's the thing I like to do. I like to take my Lamborghini. I like to take anything that's really, or some of the Formula One cars, really those low to the ground things. And I like to take them off road. And you know what? Quite frankly,
I'm pretty sure that's not what you're supposed to do.
well, you know what? Okay, fairness. The racing is fine, and I'll take the rally car or my any number of Beamers, or the entire James Bond car pack. By the way, is out of control and brilliant. But I will say that I like to train from my barn finds. And how do you do that? You got to get off road, okay? And sometimes you have to get off road in your Formula One car, and that's okay.
Somewhere
That's okay.
Ferrari's
We support
spinning in a
you.
grave.
Yep.
That's okay.
That's fair. And it's one of those things where I like to drive. I like to be in car for the first part, but then once I inevitably go into too many trees or take out too many hedges or whatever it is, then I've got to get out car because my windshield is now all cracked. But it's all to train for the barn finds. It's all to train for that, and I'm nothing if not useful. At any rate,
Prepared.
I mean, prepared is I'll take that one. Anyway, this is actually the point of the show that we're actually going to play a game. And Shannon, you were actually the inspiration for this. And we'll be asking you some questions while we do this. But tell us about this game, because this is something that you've been playing a little bit of, and you've seen, and you've really introduced.
This is a game I discovered through Game Pass.
Love Game Pass,
and it's called Human Fall Flat, and it's a physics-based game. It's totally goofy, super fun as a couch co-op game, and that's something that I've got teenage sons, and this is one way I think to spend quality time is to find as many split screens co-ops as you can, especially when they're free with Game Pass, which is great, or included in Game Pass. Sorry, marketing. And it's a funny little, I like to think of it as the perfect Unity game. It's a game that just is complete physics and puzzles and kind of flat rendered textures, but it's just hilarious. So it's not really in competition with Assassin's Creed Odyssey or Forza Horizon for best rendering engine or anything, but
no dynamic weather in this one. I see clouds.
No, I haven't noticed dynamic weather, but I haven't finished the game.
Well, yeah, let's go ahead and fire up Human Fall Flat. And actually, chat, if you've got any questions for us, and Shannon particularly, we are going to be picking her brain here. And if you've got any questions for Shannon, you got any questions for us, feel free to go ahead and put it in that chat right there. We'd love to chat you. And obviously, you've already fallen flat, folks, but this is... My first question, actually, before we get to your background here, Shannon, is I want to know, this is one of those games where,
I'm grabbing.
We're holding hands.
We're friends. I actually didn't know we could do this. That was cute.
Oh my God.
Not intentional, but cute.
Where you're like taking that. You take it to a VCR? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, just for the record, you don't have to carry your videos around you. You just watch them. They pop. When you pick it up, it starts playing on whatever the flat surface near you is.
Oh.
So, it was my best friend, though.
I know, it was your weighted companion video.
Yeah, totally.
Here,
this is the first time I'm playing this game, actually.
What am I doing?
You are flat now.
Yes, no, that wasn't my point.
Well, I was gonna say, Shannon, for you, and Kat answered this as well. When you play games, I mean, for two women that play games, here at the office and a lot for work, that 9 to 5 kind of, or ostensibly 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Let's be clear. Like when you play games after work on your social, your me time. I mean, is it something that relaxes you? It's something that you need to find. And what are those games? Is it the Assassin's Creed? Is it something competitive, or is it something like this that's very zen, or seemingly zen? Although I can see this getting.
No, you know what? This game never stops being zen. Look at this naughty statue. Oh my gosh! I hope this is a PG rated.
We're rated.
Stream.
Well,
it's fine.
It's fine at your own discretion. But yeah.
I mean, for me, I don't know, Kat. I'd love to hear.
Yeah, no, I still love playing. I do get that question a lot nowadays, but I still love playing video games, and it's still my favorite hobby to do. So part of my day is actually getting home, and I do my cooking and dinner and everything, and then I just sit down at my couch and I just play video games. So during the week, I'm actually try to find the games that are not like I don't need to actually be super intensive
Sort
and
of those
attentive.
arcade style potential.
So Life is Strange is a great one. So any storyline driven games, those are the best ones for during the week. I let my multiplayer Gears of War, Halo, which is my go-to games for the weekends, where I can play with my friends and I can just be heavily invested and have the mental energy of just killing people
and locusts of all kinds.
Yes. But I still love playing video games, and I still have the same joy that I used to have. Having
who's Shannon? Is that you or is that?
No, this is me.
What are you doing with that? Don't stir.
I actually. Oh,
what happened to your arm?
Yeah, I don't know what happened with my arm.
Put your arm straight up.
I fixed it.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just
when you're
relaxing.
made of physics, little things happen. I've got a little issue with the bent arm thing. I read about this, but
I like it.
we'll just play, you know.
Hey, that's
this
right.
is what you do. For me, it's
Yeah.
totally situational. I always love the opportunity to play, and I will play everything from one of the games that I actually that's part of my team's portfolio
Mhm.
is Casual Suite, Microsoft
Mm.
Solitaire,
Dude,
biggest beast of a game.
what
ever.
is up? I am 29% on hard, y'all.
Oh
So
my
step off.
God.
I got you.
I also really love the Ultimate Word Game Collection.
Oh, yeah.
But so if I have extended time, then I'm going to spend it playing something super AAA and immersive,
Yeah.
like Assassin's Creed, like Forza,
Mhm.
like Red Dead. When
Yeah.
I get a chance to play, it's going to play best on Xbox. But you know, when I want to spend time with kids, it's Overcooked or it's
I love Overcooked.
yeah,
Overcooked.
exactly.
We did a tournament
Although it
here.
does-
It was crazy.
has ended in fisticuffs more than once.
That's
but-
fair. Much like
Um,
Mario Party, by the way, just for the record.
exactly.
Not good.
Mario Tennis. Same.
Oh.
Like, oh my gosh, that game.
What about
is
like
ridiculous?
arms?
Yeah, totally. It's so interesting. What a great idea to combine a fighting game and a tennis game.
Yep.
But anyway, so and then yeah, I mean, I do have there's games like this, or there was one that I played for a long time. If I had 5 minutes before we had to go somewhere, called Shred It. It's just a little snowboarding game with a darling art style. It was an independent game. So it just really depends on, but yeah, I mean, the games, they are part of all of the days.
all of the days.
So yeah.
I can imagine if it can be. I mean, we do a lot of gaming, obviously, with my day to day. But I can imagine with you guys on the development, on the design, on the that particular leadership side, it can be a bit like, oh God, another one.
No,
That's
not-
good. That
I
makes
I
it.
have to say no. I mean, I do get that way about spreadsheets and PowerPoints.
Well, that's fair,
Yes.
and I understand that.
100%.
Yeah. Who needs them? Line
Um,
items. Ugh.
well, it turns out I do kind of.
That's
but,
fair.
But yeah, no, with the games, like the days when I get to play games, have product reviews, see how development's going, like those are the days that totally make it worth it. So I have this bent arm issue. So I am not able to get up.
Now, what is? I'm sorry, I haven't been paying attention to this game. What is the objective here? To be awesome.
The
and fun?
objective is to get to the place where you can walk through a door and fall to your death.
Yep.
Well,
So like
that's
it's a little bit of a
something
nihilistic
everyone's
game.
looking for. Sure.
But you know, when this guy, he has no feelings, he has no
Uh-huh.
thoughts,
Fair.
he has only formulas in his head. So it's a physics simulation.
I have no clue what I'm trying to do.
So what you're going to want to do here, and why don't I just leave so that we don't? I'm going to just really quick.
What?
Oh, you're a player too.
Am I?
And guys, remember
You
to
can just
put your
get
questions
my
in chat if you have them.
And we'll do that.
This is a navigation puzzle. So what you want to do is get to that side of the room. I'm pointing to the opposite. So there's a handy set of stairs here. And also, by the way, anytime the game notices, this is one of the things that I absolutely love. And hey, AAA game developers, please keep this in mind.
up.
If it notices you struggling, it will drop a video to say, hey, here's a hint to try to get through.
Oh,
Here's the other plea that I want to make while we have the chance. If I have to be away from a game for a couple of weeks because I'm traveling or I get too immersed playing something that we're working on,
Got it.
please, when I come back, notice, hey, your save is a couple weeks old. Do you want to refresh her on basic controls?
Yeah, and the
Wouldn't
story
that-
too.
Yeah.
I feel like when I'm
Here's where we
away
were
for
when
a
we last-
while and
Yep.
then I go back to a game because I was really enjoying it and then I go back into it and I'm like I have no idea what happened before. And sometimes I restart, I just start it over again or I just don't play them because I don't know. So it would be amazing to have just a recap.
Yeah, just a nice take out that particular part of the whole affair where you're able to just mow down that one little speed bump that would have otherwise potentially stopped you
Exactly.
for the first 10 minutes of resuming the gameplay. Hey, and so while we're here and while we've got Shannon here, we're gonna lob some cues over at you. Give us some A's while you're playing the game. That's
Right
okie
on.
dokie. So let's talk about how you got to where you are. Let's give a little bit of your background. Tell us your life story.
My life story. Well, I studied computer science and math in college. And I had a strong desire when I graduated to do something good for the world. I was going to make the world better somehow.
Okay.
And so I spent a few years working on hazardous waste management.
Whoa.
and cleanup, and with using my computer science degree. They are related, and I won't go into the boring how.
We believe you.
But you know what happens with hazardous waste? You scrape it up
Yeah.
and you put it in a barrel, and then you've got a hazardous barrel. And then you take the barrel and you put it somewhere, and you have a new. And then, like a hurricane, like Andrew comes along and blows the barrel out. It's like a cat in the hat problem.
Yeah.
So I kind of lost my idealism.
Sure.
And then I went and I was trying to solve world hunger.
Okay, sure. That's the natural next progression. I
Yeah,
get it
yeah. At the
completely.
time, there were enough calories produced in the world; they just weren't properly distributed. So for me, it was a statistics problem.
You're like, oh,
But it turns out the difference between writing SPSS programs and actually feeding people, there's a really big difference. You can talk about Latin American chickens all the time, and then actually making them happen requires funding. So I moved out here for a lot of reasons, and I took a temporary job with Microsoft to try to figure out what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I ended up landing in the games group and just have never looked back. Like, my first job was working on a bridge game.
Like a sim,
the
like a-
rumor, like the card game Bridge, yes. The rumor was that Bill Gates was playing bridge with Warren Buffett and Catherine Graham and a bridge professional named Fred Gittleman, and he wanted his own online service to do it. And it was a super fascinating problem, just because it was like a database problem, like
Yeah.
almost like a dating service problem. And so I got started working on that and kind of fell in love with the glamorous nerd Hollywoodness of
I would use all of
Game
those words to
development? Yeah.
describe that. That's
Yes.
fantastic. Yeah.
So, and I really haven't looked back. I've been at Microsoft since. I've been a producer. I got to live overseas for a little while.
What were you doing
um,
overseas?
I started a publishing team, actually. So we had a little publishing team for a while in the UK, and they worked with Remedy to make to kick off Quantum Break. They worked with Ruffian to make Crackdown 2. We finished up some of at the time we were working really closely with Rare. And that was when we made the first round of avatars with Rare, and Viva Pinata, Trouble in
gosh.
Paradise,
Yes, I remember Viva
and
Pinata.
Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts.
Yeah.
Oh,
And that was, I've been a lifelong Rare fan. And so just getting to go out to the campus in Twycross and
Yeah.
meet the people that had made so many of the games that I played growing up, where it was mind blowing. And it's still like a vacation for me to spend a day at Rare.
And that's Rare is over in the UK. Is that correct?
They are. They're in Twycross, in the
Twycross,
center
yeah.
of the country. And it's,
I actually think some of the people from 343 are visiting this week.
Are
Oh,
they?
Or
that's
at least
great.
I've seen some awesome pictures.
that's true.
From
Yeah,
them on
yeah. I
Twitter.
did, I did see
Yeah.
some, I saw some evidence. Oh, yes. It's the box.
I have
Must
no
always
idea.
be
Found the
a
box.
There must always be a box.
What's in the box?
Well, there's a button,
I-
so let's do the button.
My arms don't work. So
It was Arms Day yesterday. um, so actually, to add on to that, Shannon, my this is gonna. I know you're probably not gonna have this answer because of the number, but do you know? Have you thought about how many games that you have been involved with personally over the years here? I know that's. I figure you wouldn't
Yeah.
have a number because it's probably in the like dozens.
Yeah, it's in the. I think it's. I don't know.
Several baker's dozens.
Yeah, I think it's probably close to 50.
Close to 50.
Yeah.
Gosh.
But like every one of them, you remember every single one of them. Anything that you have, if you spend time playing, time worrying about it, getting to work with the developers. Right now, I'm running the publishing team, which means we partner with developers. Like, we're working very closely with Sumo right now to finish Crackdown and Ruffian.
Right. Okay.
And I mean, those guys are working hard. Those ladies and gentlemen are working incredibly hard, and they put so much passion into the game. And every time, we're in the final stage where every day when I boot up the build, I see something new. Like, oh, we have new lighting. We've got new particles. We've got a new NPC behavior that I hadn't noticed before. This boss behaves differently. Oh, that's a cool cutscene. And I love seeing the games come together at this time.
Yeah.
And I love seeing people bring their best kind of self-expression and their best work to try to contribute to a bigger vision. Like, that, to me, that creative process is incredibly rewarding, and it just sears all the games that you work on in your mind. And like I don't know how many, but I can tell you about all of them if we have a week or so.
I mean, sure, okay, perfect.
I think that's
Start with outwards.
what's really special about the game development industry is like the passion of all the people that work in games and that work to make the games a reality is unparalleled to anything I see like anywhere in the world or any other industry. Like people just put their heart and soul into these games. And I think if everyone just stops and actually appreciates like how much time people invest in making this, how much like different, and it's not only the game developers, it's like the game developers, the sound people, the graphics people, the marketing people, like there's so many disciplines to just make this happen with so much passion and so much grit, and just it's honestly it's amazing, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. And I just want people to appreciate the labor,
the amount of effort both in people and resources that it takes to bring this out. It's funny because the way you guys are talking about this makes it sound like, when you hear producers talking about a movie they've always wanted to make, but every game has that feeling. And I feel like, maybe I'm wrong, tell me if I'm wrong, you guys, but it feels like you have to have that feeling because of the time, because of how intense the development process is and how much time it takes to create a masterpiece, like an Assassin's Creed, like a Forza, like a Halo 5. What are you doing with the box?
I'm in a bit of a pickle. If I drop the box, I've got to go.
Can I help?
Can you help?
Can I actually help?
You're trying so hard. No. Did that help?
I don't think that was.
Did
the
it
goal.
hurt though?
Hey Shannon, we actually have a question from.
I tried.
We have a question from chat. Man of the HR.
Man of the HR.
Man of the hour. Who is it?
Is that Alex?
Alex. Okay, Alex.
Hi, Alex.
What game are you most excited about that's coming soon?
Well, I mean,
we're coming into holiday here. We're coming into those prime times when it gets gross outside.
I didn't mean to get fresh there.
Can I?
You guys are you fighting right now?
No,
I'm trying to hit the button. That's what I'm trying to do.
Oh no,
No, Kat.
I thought I was the right one, not the left one. So this is what happened here.
That's
I
fair.
was looking at the wrong screen.
I know.
Anyways,
we need different colors. So I mean, obviously the elephant, Red Dead Redemption, comes out this Friday, and just reading through the reviews this morning,
Less than
Chris
24
Plant
hours.
at Polygon wrote an incredible review that just made me realize this is a game. This is one of those you must play.
Yeah.
So definitely Red Dead. I'm excited to see what people think about Crackdown 3 when we put it into the market. It's just a fun, superhero, super vertical platforming, orb collection kind of.
which was super ridiculous.
Car throwing. It's really good for having bad days.
Having those stressful times when you just need to throw a car.
Yeah. I mean, this fall has been ridiculously wealthy with games. I loved playing Spider-Man on the PS4 when it came out.
Yes.
Love Insomniac. I think they're an incredibly creative team. I enjoyed Lara Croft, the Tomb Raider game. What was it? I can't remember.
Shadow of Tomb Raider?
Shadow of Tomb Raider, yeah. Thanks. And then, of course, diving into Assassin's Creed. But in Forza Horizon, I mean,
Any open world Forza, like I'm a Forza. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I really like Forza. But I will say that it's fantastic and remarkable and awesome that we're in a time when we've got these beautiful Forza games, these beautiful open world racing games that allow me to landscape the way God intended. Anyway, what are some of your so coming in? So sorry.
Yeah.
So actually, I know there's some big events coming up here, of course, and you've mentioned a couple of different things. Kat, what are you most looking forward to coming down the line when we've got, because we're like Shannon was talking about, we're got a lot of games coming out doing stuff.
So, couple confessions. I've never played Red Dead.
Oh, okay.
So I'm actually, because of all my friends are totally like telling me you should 100% play Red Dead. So I might be picking it up and playing it. I just got a PlayStation 4 Pro as well. So
Nice.
I'm looking forward to play all the games that I haven't played yet. Although I do follow very closely a lot of franchises from the PlayStation days. And so I'm right now starting Persona 5 and God of War.
Oh.
And so
well,
which
where are you playing God of War on? PS? Or?
PS4.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay.
And so I'm very much looking forward to that. Like last week I finished Beyond Two Souls and I love everything that Quantic Dream does. And
Wow.
so I adored that game.
That's great.
It was really good. And so I'll be playing some games on my PS4 Pro, and I guess that I will have to succumb to what everyone is telling me, and I'll buy Red Dead. And
Not the worst idea.
probably on our next stream, I'll have some thoughts
Yeah.
and know more about it.
Yeah.
And we did have actually another question in chat, which was, I just saw it moments ago from Almont 2000. Shannon, do you play VR games?
I do not own a VR headset,
Okay.
but I have plenty of opportunity to play what comes out while I'm here in the office. I do have to say that I think VR is a medium whose potential still lies mostly before us.
Yes.
I think I have a particularly bad case of motion sensitivity, and so many of the early VR games were difficult to take. Although I could, just the sense of immersion and the being in the environment was absolutely stunning. So I put it aside for a little while.
Sure.
Holidays usually when I pick it up, when I have like the 2 weeks off around Christmas and I can pick it up and see what's new. But we'll see. I don't know. I'd be interested to hear whether everybody thinks there's some new hotness coming out that I absolutely have to try.
Yeah, that is something I will say that about VR titles across different consoles and things. I haven't heard hotness of any kind, so we'll see how that ends up going. But I
mean, there have been some really
some great VR
super creative. There's been everything from like a VR translation of an existing gameplay mechanic, like shooting, and then there's also been a total creation, something that could only happen in VR, and I love it. One of my favorite VR companies is right here in Seattle. It's run by Ray Davis and Brian Murphy, who are two ex-coworkers of mine.
Nice.
And I'm going crazy because
oh my gosh, wait, is it the small little like forest little
No, that's another one. That's Moss.
Moss.
Yeah,
Moss.
Moss is beautiful.
That's beautiful.
By Polyarch.
Yeah, also here in town.
Also here in town, right? Yeah.
Really killing it.
So I think there are, and what I love about Polyarch is just the sense of scale, right? Like you're a tiny being in a giant world, and like your identity is kind of instantly cemented.
Sure.
But also Moss, like he's not a baby. Like he's a badass.
Yeah.
Badass mouse. So yeah.
Like I've played Superhot in
Right.
in VR, which is a very interesting mechanic of, and it doesn't have to be in VR. The game is available anywhere, but it's especially cool in VR, where it's a cool mechanic where you have, so your bullets are controlled by how you move. So it's a time bound mechanic that works really well, and you have to really think what you're going, like what your next steps are, because that will define the entire outcome of the level. That was a really, really good, interesting one, but I also haven't played many VR games.
I will say that the VR games that I have played and that I have knowledge of are those that are like the Rick and Morty VR experience.
Right.
Experience,
From
I think they call it. Yep.
Yeah.
As well as the
Ooh.
as well as the I'm a Star Trek fan, a Trekkie to be sure.
You a Trekkie?
Things happen. It's a childhood situation that came into adulthood with me. But at any rate, the point is that they've also got a fabulous VR game that's from the Bridge of the Enterprise.
Oh, that's cool.
So I like that. Yeah, it's wow.
I'm gonna fall.
No, you're not.
Oh my
This
god.
is honestly though. This looks a lot like y'all did like a real heavy gym sesh the night before.
Yeah.
And you're like, guys, let's just try and do this.
Gym sesh.
Gym sesh.
Yeah.
It was really working on the delts. That's a thing, right? Those are muscles. Thank you.
Okay.
It's like, should have got. Oh no.
Okay.
Not
yeah,
enough
that
bananas.
did not. Yep.
All right, I'm gonna
Work out.
help. We're gonna do this together.
Let's see. I
We're
like
all
it.
in this. I'm singing High School Musical songs. No.
no, you're fine. That's what's a
My arms
safe
don't
place
work.
here.
I know your
They're
arms don't
weird.
work. Here.
Chat, I hope you're enjoying
Oh,
our Women
yes.
in Gaming
Yeah.
monthly stream. Make sure to follow Women in Gaming on Twitter. Is that correct there, Kat?
Yes.
While we're doing a little plug, while they're playing Human Fall Flat, which is a Game Pass title. You too can be
Game Pass and ID.
Game Pass and ID, absolutely. Shannon, what kind of ID titles? I think that's a really good segue into a question about ID titles because we're playing and having a tremendous amount of fun playing an ID
are?
title. Well, I'm just telling you, we're
Okay.
having fun.
Yeah, I know,
Gosh,
totally.
darn it.
Like, no joke.
You
Fun.
see that? But at any rate, I think ID titles are something that the Game Pass is really useful for because it's a lot of discovery, right?
It
Some
is.
people who might
sorry.
not see those AAA
true.
titles that have all of the marketing and all the other things, but
Right.
something like this available on Game Pass. Can you talk a little bit about your love of ID titles and what kind of goes into an indie game from your perspective?
Yes. So ID titles, I thought you were going to ask me which games I love from the ID
listen,
program, and
I'm
my
happy
answer
to-
would be them all.
Excellent.
It's an interesting thing because independent development is crucial. It's the lifeblood of the industry. So many companies start small and then they gain momentum as they learn and build experience through building these games. But a lot of the freshman entries from new studios have a tendency to just be they're new, they're naive, and they get these games done because they don't know that they shouldn't be able to. And I just love that quality in that kind of energy that you bring to, or that a new game development studio brings.
What's that?
So they're not always small. I mean, a lot of these ID games are hundreds of hours. And I mean, honestly, I think if you looked at my Shreddit hours, it would be embarrassingly high because it's all like
impressive.
10 minutes at a time. But it's Shreddit is basically, oh, I've mentioned it. It's a snowboard. It's an endless runner snowboard game. But what it takes really is passion, funding, and frankly, some luck, because choosing the right engine, choosing the right tool set, being able to pay your entire company all the way through, or sustain the
The whole
kind of
development
personal
cycle and
needs of
everything.
everybody through the development cycle, finding a way to get your game into the hands of consumers. I mean, Steam is one obvious channel.
Sure.
ID at Xbox is another obvious channel. I mean, these are they're great avenues, but they're it's also you got to take advantage of them, and you've got to have persistence, and you've got to have something playable typically before people can really understand what you're trying to communicate.
For that proof
So-
of concept type of.
Exactly.
Sure.
Exactly.
Well, now we are women in gaming as a stream. So here's a question for you. What has been the impact women have had on the gaming industry? It's a very weighty subject, but I think one that's
Correct.
really I would love to hear from you, Shannon. Of course, you as well, Kat, just because you are two women in the industry. Well, we all three are,
We
in
are.
fairness.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know why I'm saying it
I
otherwise.
was-
But I'm curious, what's been the impact from your perspective, start with you, Shannon, of women in the gaming industry?
I mean, women have been part of the gaming industry from the start. And so, you talk to some of the early pioneers like Sherry Grainer Ray. They were part of Origin and creative influences, programmers. I mean, there's basically been women playing critical roles on both the engineering and the marketing and the creative and every production side from the earliest days. So I would say that, I really don't think that there would be an industry at the level of maturity and sophistication that it is now if you had just decided arbitrarily to exclude half the population for some reason. What I love seeing now are games that are perfect kind of self-expression vehicles for ideas and notions that are uniquely feminine. I actually think Life is Strange is a good example of that.
It is.
Although it's really interesting because Don't Not Entertainment, they're a bunch of, I mean, they do have women. They have a pretty diverse group. But the writer for Life is Strange 1 was in fact a male.
Yeah.
But he had a perfect grasp on the teenage female kind of social experience and the pressures, peer pressure, the feeling of, like alienation that I think everybody experiences at some point. And so I love seeing that start to emerge. I love seeing the industry actually start to celebrate it. I love what Hellblade did. I mean, what Ninja Theory did with Hellblade.
Senua's Sacrifice.
Senua is one of the most interesting characters I think that I've ever seen, and she's so powerful and she's so fragile and
that's
complicated.
that's
in
right,
so
yeah.
many ways.
That's the whole thing that really I loved about that game is how a character can be so complex. It's not like she's good or she's bad or she's like really strong or really fragile. It's all of those things in one character. It was really, really good to see a character represented like that on video games, because we have some examples, for example, in the film industry and in movies.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's such a character in video games before Senua. So that was super interesting too.
Yep,
to play.
agreed.
Yep.
Fascinating. This is a good one that we have is Amy still in here? Where did she go? There she is. We have a brand new member of our Game Pass development team who just actually graduated from Cornell. Way to go, Aim.
Wow.
And
Impressive.
she's joining us here in studio to witness all of our fabulous gameplay and this conversation in general.
I swear I'm a skilled gamer. I'm just
No.
not able to talk and game at the same time.
Hey, listen,
it's
it is
hard.
entertaining, and that is what we like. So I am good with it. But I guess the question is, what would you tell girls, ladies, women today about working in the gaming industry? Either those that are at the beginning of their journey, those that are coming into their own. Like, what would you guys tell them?
I think a few things. 3 things really come to mind.
Okay.
First of all, be who you are. Like, don't try to fit into some sort of a stereotypical male mold. Bring your femininity, bring your strengths and your diversity to every conversation, because the team that's smart will recognize the value that you're adding by having different perspectives. The second thing is take care of yourself. Make sure that you are spending time daily, like Catarina was saying that she's in Hell Week in her gym this week.
Yep.
And so, at some point you kind of have to push the work out of the way and say, look, I'm not going to be able to, I'm going to be 5 minutes late for that meeting that's across campus because I'm sore and I just can't run there today. Or in my case, occasionally I will make people during one-on-one conversations, we will do them walking. Because I just need to be outside of the office and, seeing the fall leaves or whatever. And then the third suggestion that I would make to women coming in is network like crazy and network like your career happiness and longevity depends on it, because it probably does.
Yeah.
Not just with other women, but also with men that you admire. Pull people up behind you and reach up ahead of you. There is this concept in Microsoft of what we call sponsorship, which is a little bit different than mentorship.
Yes.
Sponsorship is where you have the kind of relationship with somebody who's senior to you that when a hot job opens up, they think, oh, maybe Kate is the right person to come do this job. And you build those sponsoring relationships when you really invest yourself in networking and performing at the same time. So that would be my suggestion.
There it is.
Yep.
Do you have a quick suggestion? We're apparently moving on.
I think Shannon covered all of them. I had the amazing opportunity of working with some of our interns this summer, and so it was really inspiring. Yeah, it was really inspiring to just be able to, on a day-to-day basis, touch base with them, see how they felt about like starting and working on the gaming industry, and how it was for them to work here, and how excited they were. So we had really good conversations of how it was like growing up. One of them actually had the dream of working in the gaming industry and working here at Xbox. But the other two, I know, but the other two didn't. And so knowing how they navigated their way into the gaming industry, and once they were here, they found such a supportive team and such a challenging work and things that they don't think they can do in any other industry was super exciting. So one thing that I'm really passionate about is actually how can we bring that to the universities and colleges of like, hey, all of you that are studying, and it doesn't have to be computer science. It can be any other discipline. The gaming industry is actually a great place to be and a great place to work, because you do develop a bunch of skills. And you work with amazing people and inspiring people, and we're changing people's lives. Like, games changed my life. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for it. And so it's just bringing that message of like, hey, having a career in games, whatever that might be, it doesn't have to be a game developer. I think it's so empowering, and I just hope that more people look at it as like a real dream and career. And
I love it, man. I love it. Well, actually, guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up our gameplay segment. Although you guys are, was
Cool.
that you?
That was me.
Swinging like the fences? That is
Bet.
very impressive.
Yeah, I'm impressed myself. Thank you.
Yeah, it's no big deal. But actually, we're going to move on to our snaps segment here, guys. And
Right.
of course, these are spreading the good vibes. Look at that look at that fabulous graphic
I
we had
know.
there. It's called professionalism, folks. We're going to spread the good vibes by giving snaps or shout outs to people and players, people doing good in the industry. And I know we had started off this conversation with a great two of our own from the Mixer side that went over to Europe recently. This, of course, Shane Meyer and Tara Volker. And snaps to them. They did an incredible thing. And I had to pull up my email because Tara basically went through the entire trip report, and it looks incredible. But basically, it's where did it go? It was called the GA Conference of EU. So they deal with accessibility, and there's a lot of great developers out there. Ubisoft is a great example of developers that are coming alongside these gamers and wanting to make sure that they're accessible to all. And they did you're Shannon, that's Shane. This is what happens. It's Thursday. But Shane and Tara is the lead for our accessibility push over here on Mixer, and she helped put together this entire conference, bringing together partners, bringing together consultants all over the world to really showcase what is being done and find out what could be done to help these gamers who are really looking to just freaking play, man.
Yeah, and I think the industry as a whole is moving towards, like, I see a lot of new games with the options for with accessibility options, either be it changing the colors, having more subtitles, describing what's happening on screen. There's like so many options that are now being included in games, and it's a change that it's honestly great to see.
Yeah.
Yep, and you see game developers doing incredibly thoughtful implementations as well, and tests actually with members of the community, and that's really the only way you can tell whether or not you're making your game truly accessible.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think actually, who was it? The Square Enix for Tomb Raider is one of the
Tomb Raider had some incredible customization options, and actually the neat thing about this kind of inclusive design is that a lot of the time it just makes all of the game, I always turn on subtitles.
Yeah.
Just because, like you get so wrapped up. You miss what people say, or maybe there's like a truck on the street outside or something. So it just makes the gameplay better.
And even for me, the subtitles are actually super useful. And I watch every single TV show or play any game with subtitles because English is not my first language. And so sometimes when there's a lot going on, there's explosions, there are things going on screen, I cannot get what the characters are saying, and I want to make sure I don't miss anything. So it's great.
People worked hard to create that stuff on screen. You want to hear about it all.
Yes, for sure.
Are there any other snaps that we want to bring to light from our team?
I want to highlight our esports team at the Coalition because they're doing an amazing thing with the Pro Circuit program.
Sorry, not sorry.
Total bias towards yours. It's fine. Yeah. But they're doing an amazing invitational tournament in Columbus, which all the prize money, which is not prize money, will be donated to charities of choice of the teams that are being invited to participate in that tournament. So that will be happening. I actually don't know the actual dates.
It's coming up.
It's coming up. Follow Gears on Twitter.
I have a snap.
Bring it.
This month at Microsoft is Giving campaign, and it's a really big deal here at Microsoft. We do a lot company-wide to try to generate. I think a couple of years ago, we passed over $1 billion donated, which is
really
unbelievable.
I'm like getting
but Phil always sets a goal for the gaming group every single year. And we're not quite at that goal yet, but like my own publishing team, we are at, I think 77% of the people have participated in Giving campaign, either through money donations, time donations. And I just, to organizations as varied as my favorite organizations are, there's a nonprofit called Water First, which goes into developing countries and creates water infrastructure for communities that need it, where women and children typically are the ones that are spending like 9 hours a day to go haul back some not that great water.
Yeah.
I also really, really love giving to like Children's Hospital in Seattle. The
Yep.
uncompensated care program
Yep.
is astounding. So there's so much good that you can do. And there's so many fun ways to do it. Like right now, as we speak, out in the lobby, you knew I was going to bring
I
this
knew
up.
this, and I'm loving it.
Little Nugget and Smalls. We have 2 puppies in the lobby that are out inspiring people to make puppy blankets to take back to.
We've already asked. They
adorable.
can't come in the studio.
Yeah,
We've
we
asked.
tried,
I know.
We've
tried.
asked.
Thanks, Lennox.
Seriously.
But there were a lot of fun opportunities to even just give. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
Phil
Yeah.
Spencer, for example, had and the entire leadership team actually throughout this entire week, you were able to donate whatever kind of money you wanted for your charities of choice, and then play games with them for like an hour or do something just fun. And so it's been great. The 2 charities I support, and you're inspiring me to also plug them in if
Good.
people want to check them out,
Yeah.
is Anxiety Gaming. And they do an amazing work to support, for mental health support for gamers. So people who are struggling but
Oh,
are
wow,
not able
that's
to ask
so
for
important.
help or don't have the financial resources to do it. That charity helps them reach those. So they work with psychologists and other therapists that give their time, but they also pay for treatments if needed.
That's
So
great.
that one is great. And then the Game Changer charity, which helps with providing consoles and games to hospitals for
right.
children with terminal diseases. And so they do an amazing work, and they have such an inspiring mission, and they really affect these families and these children's lives. It's really
Wow,
inspiring
that's
to see
beautiful.
what they see. Yep.
Anytime you can help kids be kids when
Yeah.
they're very clearly
100%.
suffering, man, that's fantastic. So let's move on because we're almost out of time.
No way.
It's true.
That was really fast.
I know. So then
Nice.
this actual segment for our fabulous little pew, pew thing happens. This is actually the time when we talk one-ups and game overs. One-ups and game overs. Obviously, one-ups is similar to snaps, but it's industry-wide. So this is when we get to talk about both the positives and some of the negatives, quite frankly. Things happen. So let's talk about one-up topics. I just pulled it up. Gen G, which is Gen G is in the League of Legends circuit is
Right.
known as obviously a very big name. Unfortunately, they're not in Worlds. How the French toast that happened? If you want to watch Tweet tonight, that's how it works. That's a great plug. Anyway, but Gen G, they actually
That
just
was
signed
great.
2 of their. It's a terrible plug, by the way. You don't know when it's on, where it's on. This week in esports, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. I know I said it wrong, Ed, and I don't care. Anyway, moving right along. Gen G, they've signed 2 female Fortnite players to establish an all-women
great.
team. And Fortnite, the hotness is real. And I talked about there was another new tournament that was women only. It was $15,000 prize pool. They were bringing in 48 different gamers, not 48,000 gamers, flying them into Europe. I don't know where it is, and I can't remember the name, and I apologize. I couldn't find it in time. But there is some great stuff happening in esports, specifically in the
Awesome.
female scene. Let's hear about it, Kat.
I know some more about it. So actually in Lisbon, in Portugal, where I'm from, we had our 2nd edition of the Gamer Esports Festival this year.
Yes.
So actually the main sponsor was Sephora, which was like in an esports event, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So they threw together, it was a full weekend, and they had tournaments for League of Legends, Dota, and I'm probably missing some.
The CSGO, maybe?
Probably, yeah. So it was an all-female tournament, but there were teams from all over the world that flew there, and it was great to see.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a video on their YouTube that has a wrap-up from the tournament. That's great to see.
Absolutely. And of course, we're coming down to the last few minutes here, or minute, or whatever. That's okay.
We did start late.
We started late, but we enjoyed listening, and this is how this works.
Punctual.
Game overs. This is, honestly, it's always going to be our least favorite thing to talk about, but it's a good
Are we
thing
going to
talk
really
about
end
it.
on game over?
No, we're totally
Let's
not going
do
to end on
one
game
more
over.
like snap or something.
Should we do another?
afterwards.
Yeah, we
we
should do
will.
another snap
Okay.
afterward. I'll
Okay.
think of something. But
All right,
we had
good.
mentioned a game over pay differential.
Yeah. I mean, there was a decent amount of coverage of the gender pay gap at Rockstar North not too long ago, and it was horrifying. It was 30 women are making 36% of what men are making, And I think a 64% pay gap is probably well above the norm.
Yeah.
And I think the big issue is really that no one is talking about it. I mean,
Yeah.
it did get some coverage at the time that Rockstar self-reported, which was good.
Yep, that's good.
But I would hope to see mention of this issue, even in some of the wonderful reviews that we're reading today.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point, and especially today when we are, literally hours away from what could be one of the largest launches of a game
In history.
in history. I was gonna say this year, but you're absolutely right, in history for sure. I mean, we're coming off the heels of Call of Duty Black Ops 4, which had crazy numbers, and yet this one is being hailed as the second coming, basically, which is funny because it's the second thing. Anyway, I say,
prequel.
but it's a prequel.
Yeah.
This is what confused the S out of K. I'm just telling you right now. And then there was Revolver and like what or it doesn't matter. I'm gonna not be into that because that's a whole other loophole that I will find myself in, that nice rabbit hole. But like, hey, like let's end on a positive note. Who has one? No, you know what the
It's
thing
high
is?
season for
It's
gaming. Like the
great
next
season
3
for
months,
gaming.
there's so much incredible goodness that's
Yes.
packed in. And honestly, it's so funny because at some point, I've been talking to a financial guy about, well, maybe someday I should retire. And he said, well, I'm hesitant to give you a real firm plan because all you're going to do is play games and drink wine. And I'm like, and I see no problem
Where do we
with
sign
this.
up? I mean,
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I know. The other thing is I've noticed somebody on the feed has been asking about my shirt.
yes,
So
they
I
have
a lot.
shirts.
Yeah,
I asked about
love
it
that
as well,
shirt.
but
Yes. So this shirt is actually it was a gift to me from the Games for Everyone group, and it's the specifically the LGBTQ representative work stream, and it's not a work stream, you know what I mean, the people that are working on LGBTQ initiatives, and they gave this to me for being an ally. And I am super proud to wear this shirt, and I'm proud of the work that the Games for Everyone group does. I absolutely adore, Gaming for Everyone. I absolutely
later.
adore the Women in Games events, and GDC is obviously the high point, but it's an all-year thing, and I feel so proud to be part of it. So
well, we are
I'm
proud to have-
representing.
I'm delighted.
I got my
Rapping.
Notorious
it.
RBG. Yep, and I've got
Yeah.
my
Oh my gosh.
strong AF crackdown button, which is
I've
isn't that
never
great?
seen that.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's
Love
great.
it.
Yep.
it's the Terry Crews in all of this.
You know what? There's a little T Cruise in
Yep.
each and every. Well, hey, listen, Shannon, a huge thank you for coming on today and
fun.
being
Thank
our
you for having
co-host
me.
and giving us some incredible things to think about.
When do I
and
get to
see.
come back?
Well,
Anytime
uh,
you want.
no
You can
prob-
You can be our host.
I swear, like I will leave tomorrow. It'll be great. But thank you once again. Like you've got some incredibly valuable insights, and it's really cool to see somebody who's like so high up in doing what you're doing, and also able to sort of take a look at that landscape for us, especially with women in gaming. So
Yeah, it's a blast.
Yeah.
So fun to play with you.
And I love.
Sorry to
Thank
the
you for
creators
introducing me to Human Fall Flat.
Yes, yes. Sorry to the creators of Human Fall Flat. It's actually a very fun game.
it
It's easier to play when you're not trying to talk and
At the same
forget that
time.
you're on camera.
Don't say that. I was entertained.
You,
What else is there? Anyway, guys,
you're not.
of course, a huge thank you to Kat for joining us here.
Thank you, Kat.
And
Thank you.
Nicole, we miss you, but you'll be back next time. I have this, I am certain.
Yes.
And listen, speaking of next time, we'll be back next month with another episode. And we'll announce that date soon on our social channel. If you want to follow that, follow at Women in Gaming. It's very, very easy
It
to
is.
follow.
Easiest
Exactly.
thing.
Absolutely. So yeah, make sure to follow that and our Mixer channel. This one, go hit that. Well, we're at 400. We just hit 400
cool.
followers on this
Oh,
channel.
Nice. Thank you guys.
Yay.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic. Exactly. And before we leave, are we going to be streaming too? We've got a special female streamer to showcase this month. Oh, yes, of course. She's actually mixer.com/Chrissy's. What?
Crisis Spark 343.
Crisis Park 3.
Chris is
343. Should be. Yep, she's on our screen right now. She's a gaming expert.
Spark.
Yeah, that makes much more sense than what I said. Don't listen to what I said. Anyway, she's a gaming expert at Microsoft Store. She's also just about to graduate with her computer science and engineering degree. So hey, check out her channel. Say what's up from Women in Gaming. We love to see women in gaming game.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
100%.
Make- And game.
Make and game and
And
create,
socialize.
socialize the whole
Yep.
thing.
Yes.
And with
And
that,
someone teach me to stream.
aim. Get in line, folks. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.